First, we'd like to thank Lenny for everything you've done for Elrama. Your 20 years as fire chief, 20 plus years, and 10 plus years of emergency service. My first question is, you guys want to change Elrama from primary and give it to Finleyville. What's the response time for people in Elrama?
So, we wouldn't not be using the services of Elrama Fire Department. Same way it was before with the people on the other side. Like, if there was a fire, say at Trax Farm, there would still be library, Finleyville. It's not like Elrama wouldn't be a fire department within the community. It would be that they wouldn't be the primary call for the temporary basis until this situation is.
They wouldn't be the primary call for Elrama.
Right.
That's what you said, we wouldn't.
Anywhere in the township, they wouldn't be the primary
That's
call.
nuts.
Exactly.
That is crazy.
So, I live 2 blocks from the fire hall. So you're telling me that I have to wait for Finleyville to get to my
No.
house? If
Elrama
there's a
would
structure
probably
fire.
still be dispatched,
Probably,
just like
probably.
I'm a half hour away from Elrama, and I've always, it's not like Finleyville
You
doesn't.
live in Union Township, you don't live in Stonyville. You live in.
I said I'm a half hour from
You're a Union
Elrama.
Township resident, you're not a
They have a thing,
Finleyville.
I
they-
get it,
They're
but
two different
Finleyville
towns.
does appear
They're
because
two
they are a
different
fire
towns.
department servicing this community.
They have a thing
It's not
called,
like my place would burn down without a cooperation between the 2 fire departments.
they have a thing called, what they call run cards. And the run cards are submitted to 911, to Jerry Cohen, the public safety director. And the run cards tell people, tell the 911 who gets dispatched. So when something occurs as an emergency, a run card would indicate, Elrama and Finleyville would be both probably called in that situation.
You probably call what you're putting Finleyville primary.
It's primary at this point in time, but the run card, when you have a run card, even though you have, like, say, that you have, like, Canton Township, South Bay, even though one might be primary, the run card will say, when something happens, you dispatch both of these departments. At least that's what I understand.
Well, that's what they're doing now, if I'm not mistaken.
I assume they are. because they have-
24/26.
Correct. Elrama and Finleyville go on almost every call.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not like Finleyville has to
Exactly.
wait for Elrama to come because they're the primary, they both get dispatched.
They both get dispatched underneath the run card.
Okay, so you said a few moments ago that in the iOS
ISO.
ISO.
ISO rating, that any area that is more than 5 driving miles from the nearest fire station is automatically rated a 10. So Finleyville Fire Hall is more than 5 miles to my house.
But you have a
So
fire
isn't that
hall
an odd,
in
like you're
Elrama.
going from making Elrama primary to making Finleyville primary. Now they're gonna get a 10 because it's more than 5 miles to my house.
No,
So
so
what
it's
sense
a
does that
fire
make?
hall, not your, it doesn't say your primary fire department. You don't have to be within 5 miles of your primary fire department. You still will be near Elrama Fire Department, correct?
But they're not
So
gonna
they're
be my
within 5
primary. Finleyville is.
But it doesn't, the rating is based on how close to a fire department, not the primary fire department. I am currently more than 5 miles away from Elrama as our primary.
Okay.
And man, this
Are we-
is not a permanent situation either. This, as we, Mr. Bailey and I
Yeah.
discussed,
Yeah, it is.
this, no, it's not, we're gonna have a meeting, no.
No, it will be, Jenny, come on.
Well, I'm not gonna let that happen, no. But I think from our perspective, when we have the ISO meeting with that lady, I guess, Mr. Bailey's talking about on March 6th, what I'll do tomorrow is basically see how fast we can forward that Elrama can be a primary, and I guess you guys been talking about a zone, correct, Mr. Bailey?
Yeah, we were talking about zones now, the township's already broken down into zones.
Well, and that's what,
Should have been done a
again,
while ago, but it never had.
so, once we find out what's going on, then we'll, push this through to go have,
But right now,
So
people
it's
don't-
fair to say,
The issue is your rating in Elrama. It's a detriment to every resident in township. The logical first step is to make Finleyville Fire Department our primary.
Till the data
Let's
is
get the
gathered.
numbers done. You need to do your homework and talk to Tyler on the 6th and see how fast that improvement process can take place. That's where we're at.
For right now, residents are losing their homeowners insurance. Home sales have stopped. There is a large scale business in this community.
And nobody knew about this until like just recently?
Absolutely.
We didn't know that it was a 10?
The
Normally,
previous boards
normally a
did not
township never knows.
do justice to the township. They neglected to read the letters that they received and take appropriate action.
Normally, ISO never reaches out to the township. It was out of desperation that they reached out to the prior board to try to implore them to have the fire department call them so they could do this study.
Okay, so it's fair to say that it was the township's fault that Elrama Fire Hall got a 10.
That's not
Normally-
necessarily true.
Normally, a township doesn't
Okay, so,
even
That's not
okay,
true.
so wait a
get
minute.
contacted.
Then for the rating, what did Elrama fail to do? Was it communication, emergency communications?
Failure
it
to
the water
respond to
supply?
requests to provide the information to ISO.
How could he respond to it if he wasn't getting the emails?
I don't have the answer to that.
We
You
don't
should.
know.
Falls on the prior
Why
board.
should I?
No,
You're a supervisor.
every fire
Why
department
wasn't
knows
the
they get
water
rated
bills
by
paid?
ISO.
That's
How
the
long
problem.
ago were they rated? And did they question why they hadn't been rated in the last 8 years?
You'd have to ask the secretary of the township.
No, the fire department, they know they do ISO ratings. It's been a long time since they had one.
He didn't get the email. It's your
He
paper,
may not have
your,
gotten
Well,
the
this
your
email
exhibit A,
came-
your
if you-
exhibit B,
if you-
your exhibit
If you
C.
read the email, you'll see that it was a last ditch effort to reach out to the township to implore them to
Well,
reach
if they
out
reached
because
out
the
to the
fire
township, why
department's
didn't the
not,
township reach out
because
to
the
them?
fire department is
What
not
kind of
answering them.
communication do you two have?
It was the old board.
The old board.
The old board, it was not.
It wasn't them.
You gotta quit blaming stuff that happened years ago.
Well, that's when it happened, that's when it
That's when it
happened,
happened.
that's when it happened, Albert, that's when it happened.
When did that happen? When did that happen?
2020, 2022, and the people they spoke to,
Is that the last time the township got a letter on it, 2020?
well, until we got recently notified.
And instead of working with the
Why
fire,
aren't those people?
instead of working with the fire company, you're.
We reached
jumping
out
ship.
to
You're jumping
ISO,
ship.
we
They did
reached
nothing.
out to ISO because residents were calling saying their insurance was being canceled.
Why aren't
We
the old board being
investigated.
held liable
Either,
for
sir,
this?
either you're
Ask
at
'em.
the podium right now, so either come up to the podium, do your public comment, but
I just have one more question. I wanna know why Lenny wasn't offered emergency management coordinator this year.
so, to be honest with you,
Yes, I,
Peace
quite
out.
honestly,
PSATs, we all went to a PSATs convention. PSATs and Washington County Emergency all said that the fire department chief and any community should not be the emergency management coordinator. Their words were they need to be boots on the ground. They highly
that's
suggested.
ridiculous. After 10 plus years, you don't even talk to him, you don't tell him, you just give it to somebody else.
Well, to be honest with you, when we looked up on Washington County, the person that was listed actually at the county was Sam Carroll from Harshman and Associates.
I call it favoritism
So
and
that's
a
your
bunch of
fault.
I'm just saying,
bullshit.
that is who, that is. I'm just saying what the old board listed as the person. Look it up. The old board listed Sam Carroll from Harshman and Associates as the emergency contact coordinator.
All of a sudden, you wanna change it. He's been it for over
Well,
10
Sam Carroll
years.
didn't work here anymore. That's who was listed. That's who the county thought it was. That's who was listed at the county level. It's
Just
still
keep
on their
blaming everybody,
website.
Michelle.
The only thing,
That's
Michelle,
what it
you're
is, a
right.
bunch of blaming on everybody else. Don't
The
take
only thing is, I
accountability.
think it all comes down to
And
lack
in
of communication.
talking to Lenny about the emergency
That's the main
management,
thing.
he said he had enough to do anyway.
I think it just comes down to lack of
Who's the next
communication
person?
is the main thing, right?
Leroy.
I mean,
Leroy Harkins?
Yeah,